Welcome to Will It Work. I'm Kevin. Today we are going to look at the Atari Lynx. The Lynx was a handheld system that came out around the same time that the Game Boy was around, as well as there was some other competitors like the TurboGrafx or Turbo Express, TurboGrafx 16, and there may have been something else at that time. I can't quite remember. I do remember the Lynx being in game stores and computer stores on display. It was a full color screen. It had good sound. It had the ability to link itself up to other systems, so you could play multiplayer games with up to like 6 or 8 friends. It had a kind of a universal. You could, if you were left or right-handed, you could swap it around, so you could play games the other way. The screen would flip, and overall, it was a pretty decent system. Probably what doomed it was that the battery life was terrible. The lack of support from third parties. There really weren't many games made for it in general. Most of them came out of Atari themselves. And just the overall expense of the system. It was just kind of too much. Game Boy was affordable. This thing was crazy. And I remember I wanted one, but it was a lot of money, and I didn't end up buying one because I was like, can't afford it, and it wasn't that great. But overall, it wasn't a terrible system or anything. It's just, like everything, there's some game systems that are pretty capable. They just they didn't have the right combination of things to stay viable in a market of people that just didn't really have a lot of spending cash to go out and buy more than one home system or handheld system. And the Nintendo just tended to be the one that everybody ended up buying. So I have a number of things for the Lynx. We're going to look at a bunch of different things here. It won't be as long as some of the videos I've done where I've looked at a lot of stuff, but we'll look at a few different things and get a little bit familiar with it and see if it works. Now what we're looking at here is the first edition Lynx. It is, I'm going to zoom this back a little bit. Here we go. So you get your D-pad over here, your on-off button, so not a switch, but rather 2 buttons. Option, restart, flip, and AB, and your sound comes out of here. Now you might notice this is like a plank. I mean, this is pretty big. It's a pretty big unit overall. Volume, headphones. The comlinks is where you link things up. Power, brightness on the side. Your cartridge goes in here on the left. It takes 6 AA's. Rechargeable, recommended, as with an adapter. They won't last long. I will show you what a cartridge looks like. They kind of look like cue cards. So it's very thin piece of plastic, basically. The microchip is kind of in there. You can kind of see the outline of it on that plastic, probably from heat or something. And there's the label, Robotron 2084. And it would just kind of slide in here, click that closed, and you would be able to play. And we'll turn it on. And there we go. Now, like with a lot of these older screens, I'm going to shut off the upper camera so it's not creating too much of a glare. And we'll try to get a little bit of a visual here. It's hard with the angles on these old TFT LCD screens to get you guys a good angle and not get a lot of glare. We'll kind of go with something like that. Let me turn this other light off. If I shut off all the lights, you can kind of reduce some of the glare, but you're still going to get it from the windows and the upper lights. Okay, so let's just take a quick gander at this one. I believe this system's, being as old as it is, let's turn the, game control A, music on. Oops. Skill level 1. Okay, and let's hit it, start. I don't think the sound works very well in this unit. Yeah, I don't think the sound works that well. Now, I'm not sure if it's due to, sorry, you guys can't see that very well. It's hard for me to play this particular game and show it to you because I will instantly die. But this would normally take 2 sticks. Robotron's not a great game to play on a handheld like this. And the sound, just like my TurboGrafx, more than likely it needs to be recapped. It's just very old. So, first edition Lynx, though, it does work. I'm not going to recap it, you know, because I'd end up breaking it or something, but it is something that can be fixed. I'm pretty sure there's probably an aftermarket kit out there as well that could be used to get you a nicer screen overall on this guy to make it more resilient. Let me take the batteries out of the back here so we don't put it away with a bunch of old cruddy batteries. Okay, so that's the Atari Lynx version 1. And then what I have here is the Atari Lynx version 2. It came out a little bit more compact. It's a little bit bulkier. It's a little bit thicker, but it's a lighter and a little bit more. They shaved off a lot on the side, on the left side here. They may have improved the screen a touch in terms of how it's laid out, etc. You do have a backlight button now, and the rest of it seems to be pretty straightforward. So let's put some batteries in this one. And we'll be playing Cyberball, assuming it works. Oh, batteries, where do you go? On this one they go on the bottom. And it still takes... Hold on. Okay, that was weird. It still takes 6 batteries. Okay, and on this one, we put the cartridge in on the back rather than on the side. A more traditional look. We have brightness, volume, headphones, comm links, and power at the top. And I believe both systems were 100% compatible with the selection of games that were available for both systems. There are a pretty good handful of games for these. Some are a lot more rare than others. I know, like, I don't know if it's called Battle Wheels or something. It's a really fun multiplayer game, kind of a post-apocalyptic. You get out of your car and drive it around. You can run people over. That one was a little bit harder to find in the wild than some of the more common ones. You know, it's weird. Atari has a lot of software, you know, in terms of their library, especially because this was Atari proper back in the day. It wasn't like the rebranding or anything. And they just didn't really explore enough titles with this to get a good following. But anyway, let's see if this one works. Sounds like the speaker's going to work on this one too, which will be nice. Let's see if my volume up here. Yeah, I remember Cyberball in the arcade. It's kind of a fun game if you like football. It's not great. It's just kind of like a football game, though, that, you know, with robots. But it ultimately just played like any other football game. Not too exciting, but I don't know. It was okay, and you know it. you know, it was an evolution versus the 8-bit football games, etc., that came out at the time. So this one has some digital voice work in it, etc. It works fine. We'll go ahead and kill that one. Now, what I did get with these, when I bought them originally, was I got some cases that came with them, some zipper cases. They came in boxes, but I'll just show you the, you know, it was the official Atari Lynx zipper pouch type of bag. And inside we have another Atari Lynx. Oh my god, how many Atari Lynxes does this guy have? Well, we're going to look at all of them to make sure they all work. So how about that? It was not too expensive at the time. I think I bought 4 or 5, maybe 4 of these. And I think they were something like you got the case, the unit, 5 games per unit, for like, I'm thinking like less than $100 each. So pretty good deal overall. Interestingly, they did not come in the original trying to remember which one I just took out. Which one is this? One has the Cyberball cartridge in it. Thinking this is the old one. Okay, that was weird. But yeah, I was thinking that these guys didn't think there would be an aftermarket at that point. Neither did I. I actually worked with some guys, and they had Atari Lynxes for a while until they were stolen. But they had told me this, how great it was and how much fun, and that it would be worth buying them. And I wouldn't say they were wrong or anything, but the games that they remembered playing with their friends were harder to get a hold of. And let's see, what else do we have here? So Cyberball. Do have kicks for the Lynx. This particular one is still sealed in the box. It's kind of an old school. You don't see that remade too often, but it was around a lot in arcades back in the day. We have the Rampart. Let's try Rampart, assuming it's in the box. This one's open. Can't quite tell. There's the manual. A lot of these games I ended up putting them in the bag. I wasn't thinking that I was going to use these as collector's items. I was going to play with my friends. And the problem I had with doing that was the battery life. And I didn't have adapters at the time for each of these. So they weren't easy to power without going through a whole ton of batteries. And then it was just a matter of, you know, you'd have to get the Lynx cables out, connect them all together, get everybody to agree to play a certain game. You know how it is. Actually, I do have the adapters for these. Take that back. It's probably just laziness on my part. I'll just blame myself. Seems like the appropriate thing to do. So the Comlinks cable, this box is all smooshed up. Yeah, each of these also came with one Comlinks cable, one power adapter. Wasn't a bad deal, man. Case, units, power, Comlinks cable, etc. $100 each or something. More fun with your Lynx. Let's see, what else do I got? Zybots, this one's sealed. Okay, we looked at the Robotron. We have Todd's Adventures in Slime World. This one's actually supposed to be fun. It's for 1 to 8 players. Cartridge is missing. Where are all the cartridges? Tournament Cyberball. We looked at that. We have a sealed RAM part. Slightly torn, but still sealed. These Zybots. Probably no cartridge. It's weird because I have, it figures. I have all the zipper bags except one. My guess is that that one zipper bag has all the games in it, and it's somewhere, but it's not handy, which is unfortunate. I'd like to show you some of these other games for the system. We also have Ishido, The Way of Stones, which was kind of like a Tetris type game that they were going for with that one. Gauntlet, which 1 to 4 players. Elf shot the food. Wizard needs food badly. When Gauntlet came out in the arcades, man, I'm telling you, we spent a lot of money dropping quarters into the machine playing that thing. It was because Dungeons and Dragons was a big deal back then, and now all of a sudden you could play a video game with 4 people that was, like a dungeon crawl type RPG thing. I mean, it's real basic if you've ever played Gauntlet, but still, you could sit with all your friends and have at it, and it was a good time. Yeah, so none of these contain the games. It's really kind of a bummer. And what's also kind of a bummer is I've been through all of my boxes, and I did not run across the missing 4th case that would contain all of the games. I'm just checking to see if any of these have some sort of secret pocket where I put the games at. I'm going to say no. So somewhere there is a 4th bag with Lynx in it with a whole bunch of games. Don't know where that is. It's weird. Maybe gone for good. May have to go get some new games. So let's we've got Cyberball. Let's just go ahead and make sure these other Lynxes work, and then we'll call it a day. This one's brightness is way too high. That looks good. Looks like the sound works. Good old school games. They just work. You just turn it on and you start playing. There's just no, just works. Good on Atari. Good system. Still works after all this time. Wish I had something more exciting than Cyberball to show you guys. I'm not going to open up those other games. We got one more to check. Now, I do own, and if you've been following this series, I do own the Hypercade. And they do have a Atari Lynx pack you can get for it. I think they have 2 Atari Lynx packs. Although the first pack is a little weird in that it has a lot of homebrew. It's not only homebrew. They've got some games on there too, but there's a lot of homebrew on there. And It's kind of a strange pack, but I kind of like that they're doing stuff like that in order to, I mean, I'm sure that, they're charging you for it and everything, so it's not that great, but I like the idea, though, that they're at least trying to give you a little bit of a selection of different stuff, so you're not just playing the same old emulated games all the time, because that's kind of what you end up with a lot of these clone systems is, like we look at these Atari ones, and it's like, how many times are you going to play Pac-Man and Asteroids, and, and of course they do, depending on which ones you get, they do have Atari ones that have, new variations on games and such, but there's a lot of them that are just like the same old, same old. And what did I do with the cartridge? Okay, here we go. We're going to test the last one. Atari Lynx. Yeah, so I bought 4 of these, and I honestly never really got enough out of them. Now this one might not be, this one doesn't seem too happy. Yeah, that one looks like it might need to be refurbished. Yeah, so this one may need to be recapped. Let's try reseating it one more time. This cartridge just doesn't seem to want to go in there quite right. It's kind of... Nope. Alright, well, that one probably needs to be recapped. So, that's the Atari Lynx. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. That one may also just need to have a cartridge port cleaned out or something, I'm not sure. I'll take a look at it, but yeah, unfortunately I thought I had all the games here handy to show you guys all of it. If for some reason I run across them, I'll tack it on at the end of this video so you can see a couple more things that I had for it, but yeah, for right now, I don't know what happened to that 4th bag. You never know. Somebody could have stole it. They wanted a complete Lynx experience. Because I might have 4 of these Lynx 2s. And then I bought that Lynx 1 as part of the collection, I think that's what it is. And I think that 4th bag has the Lynx in it with all the games. And I just may not own it anymore. Somebody might have swiped it. But I'll take a look for it. Thanks for watching, and let's move on to something else.